Chapter 14. The sound was too soft and too sad to be startling. Hello, Parvana called, not too loudly. It was too dark to see where the woman was sitting. Parvana rummaged around on her tray until she found a box of the matches she sold with the cigarettes. She struck one, and the light flared up. She held the flame out in front of her, looking for the crying woman. It took 3 matches before she saw the figure huddled against the nearby wall. She kept striking matches so she could see as she made her way over to the woman. What's your name? Parvana asked. The woman kept crying. I'll tell you my name then. It's Parvana. I should tell you that my name is Kasim because I'm pretending to be a boy. I'm dressed like a boy so that I can earn some money, but I'm really a girl. So now you know my secret. The woman said nothing. Parvana glanced out the door. It was getting late. If she was going to be home before curfew, she'd have to leave now. Come with me, Parvana said. My mother is away, but Mrs. Guira is at home. She can fix any problem. She struck another match and held it up to the woman's face. It suddenly dawned on her that she could see the woman's face. It wasn't covered up. Where is your burqa? She looked around but couldn't see one. Are you outside without a burqa? The woman nodded. What are you doing outside without a burqa? You could get in a lot of trouble for that. The woman just shook her head. Parvana had an idea. Here what we'll do. I'll go home and borrow Mrs. Guira's burqa and bring it back to you. Then we'll go back to my place together, all right? Parvana started to stand up, but the woman grabbed onto her arm. Again, Parvana looked out the door at the coming night. I have to let Mrs. Guira know where I am. She's fine with me being out during the day, but if I'm not back at night, she'll be worried. Still, the woman did not let go. Parvana didn't know what to do. She couldn't stay in a building at night, but his frightened woman clearly did not want to be left alone. Groping in the dark for her tray, she found 2 little bags of dry fruits and nuts. Here, she said, handing one to the woman. We'll think better if we eat. The woman downed the fruit and nuts in almost one swallow. You must be starving, Parvana said, passing her another bag. Parvana chewed and thought and finally decided what to do. This is the best suggestion I have, she said. If you have a better idea, let me know. Otherwise, this is what we'll do. Otherwise, this is what we'll do. We'll wait until it gets very, very dark. Then we'll head back to my place together. Do you have a chador? Do you have a chador? The woman shook her head. Parvana wished she had her pakul, but it was summer, so she had left it at home. Do you agree? Parvana asked. The woman nodded. Good. I think we should move close to the door. That way, when it's time, we can see our way out to the street without lighting a match. I don't want to draw any attention to us. With a bit of gentle pulling, Parvana got the woman to her feet. Carefully, they made their way to a spot just inside the door, but still hidden from the view of anyone passing by. They waited in a silence for night to fall. Kabul was a dark city at night. It had been under curfew of more than 20 years. Many of the street lights had been knocked out by bombs, and many of those still standing did not work. Kabul was the hot spot of Central Asia. Parvana's mother and father used to say, we used to walk down the streets at midnight, eating ice cream. Early in the evening, we would browse through book shops and record stores. It was a city of lights, progress, and excitement. Parvana could not even imagine what it had looked, looked like then. Before long, it was as dark as it would get. Stay right with me, Parvana said, although she needed have bothered. The woman was gripping and her hand tightly. It's no far, but I don't know how long it will take us tonight. Don't worry. She smiled, pretending to be brave. She knew it was too dark in the doorway for the woman to see her smile, but it made Parvana feel better. I'm Malali, leading the troops through enemy territory, she murmured to herself. That helped too. All thought it was hard to feel like a battled heroine with a cigarette tray hanging around her neck. The narrow, winding streets of the marketplace were very different in the dark. Parvana could hear their footsteps echo along the narrow corridors. She was about to tell the woman to walk more softly that the Taliban had made it a crime for women to make noise when they walk, but she changed her mind. If the Taliban caught them out after curfew and with the woman without a burqa or a head covering at all, the noise they were making would be the less of their problems. Parvana remembered the scene in the stadium. She didn't want to know what the Taliban would do or hear in her companion. Parvana saw headlights approaching and pulled the woman into another doorway until the truck, filled with soldiers, moved on down the street. Several times they almost tripped on the uneven pavement. For one long, here stopping a minute, Parvana thought she was lost. Finally, she got her bearings and they kept moving. When they got to Parvana Street, she started to run and she pulled the woman along with her. She was scared by this point. She thought if she didn't get home right away, she would collapse. You are back, Mrs. Guida was so relieved. She hugged both Parvana and the woman before she realized what she was doing. You've be brought you've brought someone with you. You are very welcome. You are very welcome here, my dear. She took a critical look at the woman. Parvana, you didn't bring her through the street like that with no burqa. Parvana explains what had happened. I think she's in trouble, she said. Mr. Zwira didn't hesitate. She put her arm around the woman. Well, we'll get the details later. There's warm water for you to wash in hot food for supper. You don't look much older than Parvana. Parvana took a good look at her companion. She hadn't seen the woman in the light before. She looked a little bit younger than Nuria. Fetch me some clean clothes, Mrs. Guida told Parvana. Parvana took a shalwar camise of mother's out of the cupboard, and Mrs. Guida took the young woman into the washroom and closed the door. Parvana restocked, restocked, restocked her tray for the next day, then spread the meal cloth out of the floor. By the time she had put out the naan and the cups for tea, Mrs. Guida emerged from the washroom with her jaws, dressed in mother's clean clothes, her hair washed and pulled back. The woman looked less scared and more tired. She managed to drink half of half a cup of tea and eat a few mouthfuls of rice before she fell asleep. She was still sleeping when Parvana left for work the next morning. Fetch me some water, please, there, Mr. Zwira asked before Parvana went off to the market. That poor girl's clothes need washing. Finally, that night, after eating supper, the girl was able to talk. My name is Homa, she said. I escaped from Mazar-e-Sharif just after the Taliban captured the city. The Taliban has captured Mazar, Parvana exclaimed. That can be. My mother is there. My brother and sisters are there. The Taliban is in Mazar, Homa repeated. They went from house to house looking for enemies. They come to my house. They come right inside. They grabbed my father and my brother and took them outside. They shoot them right in the street. My mother started hitting them, and they should hear too. I ran back inside and hid in a closet. It was there for a long, long time. I thought they would kill me, but they killed me too. But they were finished killing people at my house. They were busy killing at other houses. Finally, I left the closet. I went down the stairs. There were bodies all over the street. Some soldiers drove in a truck. They forbade us to move the bodies of our families or even cover them up. They said we must stay inside. I was so scared they could come back for me. When it got dark, I ran outside. I ran from building to building looking out for the soldiers. There were bodies everywhere. The wild dogs had started eating some of the bodies. So there were pieces of people on the sidewalks and in the streets. I even saw a dog carrying a person's arm in its mouth. I couldn't face anything else. There was a truck stopped on the street. Its motor was running. I jumped into the back and hid among the bundles. Wherever the truck was going, it could be worse than where I was. We traveled around long time. When I finally got out, I was in Kabul. I went from the truck to the building where Parvana found me. Homa started to cry. I just left them there. I left my mother and my father and my brother lying in the street for the dogs to eat. Mrs. Wira put her arms around Homa, but the girl could not be comforted. She cried until she collapsed into exhausted sleep. Parvana couldn't move. She couldn't speak. All she could do was picture her mother, sister, and brother dead in the streets of a strange city. There is no evidence your family is hurt, Parvana, Mr. Swira said. Your mother is a smart, strong woman, and so is Nuria. We must believe they are alive. We must not give up hope. Parvana was fresh out of hope. She did what her mother had done. She crawled onto the toshak, covered herself with a quilt, and resolved to stay there forever.